for example. One that makes a clicking sound when the plates meet each other.
He's wearing the
resembling pearls
cuirass
or marbles,
from the
stolen
corpse
from the corpse in the yard
right
near
now.
where he lives.
I see you're a connoisseur of high-quality combat gear.
I knew you'd figure it out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once.
He unbuttons the shirt.
I was ashamed of what I did. And I didn't want you to know.
You see gleaming white ceramic shine underneath. A thin layer of interlocking plates covers his gaunt torso.
We're not detecting falsehood, sire. He's gearing up to admit the truth. This shame is surprisingly sincere.
Gary, what's going on?
I took the hangman's cuirass. I didn't mean to.
God damn it, Gary.
I know.
Shame on you. Give the cuirass to the officer at once.
The woman looks at you, her eyes soft and pleading.
Gary didn't mean to interfere with your investigation officers. He's just thick-headed and poor as dirt. But he's always helped us, given us a place to stay. And he's followed Morel into God knows what jungles.
He's a loyal friend.
Why did you really put those clothes in the trash?
Everyone was picking those pieces off him, and I was watching them do it. And they'd scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling.
He looks at his feet.
So I went there to take out the trash and started cleaning up. All those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and I had a lapse of honor, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left. So I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. I took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known it'd give you guys trouble, I wouldn't have... Fuck.
We're detecting sincere contrition here, sire. He's not trying to flatter anyone.
It's okay. It was a loose end, and you are tying it up now.
I'm so fucking sorry I called you Yellow Man. Seolite officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when...
He shakes his head.
It's difficult to say what the lieutenant thinks of this historic apology. His face does not belie emotions.
Why did you lie to me, Gary?
Because I was weak. I should have told you the moment I saw you.
He's a scaredy cat.
She looks at Gary, her eyes motherly. Do you know who killed the hanged man?
I always thought it was the Union, but I sure as hell won't go around saying that anymore. You have my word. I don't know, and I won't be running my mouth on this subject anymore.
This is all he knows.
Give me that armor, now.
He sighs again, hangs his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it is in your hands, smelling of his sweat. But so light to hold, like a bag of cotton.
Are we done here, Gary?
Yes, absolutely.
Level up.
I will never do anything like this again. I won't mess with Mr. Clare either. You have my word.
Thank you for your cooperation. And now, chat, right in front of him, I'm putting the armor on. Just so he knows how to make it look real good. If I had managed to get the boots earlier, I'd have the whole set. Unfortunately, I did not. Okay, so I need to go talk to, what's his name? Oh, I need to ask Kuno about the, oh my god, Kuno! Kuno stresses me out so much, chat. Kuno's language is going to get me kicked off of Twitch. If anything in this game were capable of doing it, it would be Kuno. Alright, F5.
You missed a good show before. A kid came by and completely fucked the tree to pieces.
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was porno!
Ah, kids.
By the way, Kipt is a racial slur.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. I wish I'd been here to see it. Now I have some questions.
Shoot that shit at Kuno, Pigonaut.
Pigonaut. You wouldn't happen to know anything about missing locusts?
No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, see.
Now they're gonna take you to lame prison!
She sounds like she's about to cry, out of disappointment at Kuno's newfound lameness.
What is this about?
Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
Oh my god.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Can I talk to her from here?
I'll die before I squeal, pig.
What are those strange words you use, girl?
I come from the woods, good Davidu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatizing her. Get the fuck out of here.
Don't be traumatizing her. Alright. Oh, we've got quite a few things we could do right now. Let's go talk to the lady at the dock who refused to give us any information until she could see my badge. And we found my badge. So now she will talk. And if not, I've got armor, which will maybe intimidate her. I don't know. I didn't think that sentence through.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Show her your badge. I found my badge, by the way.
I love you did.
She inspects the piece of blue plastic, eyes scanning from left to right.
Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. I am glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Freighter?
How about you share your information on the lynching, now that you've seen his badge?
The goalposts have moved, Lieutenant. In the absence of the badge, I have informed my employer there will be a probe. I cannot rescind that promise. To my knowledge, the drivers are still at the roundabout. I will tell you everything I know when you've finished with them.
This was your plan all along.
My plan is to share information. The only way to do that now is by telling my employers you've kept your end, which I hope you will, because let me tell you, we are in dire waters. The sooner the probe is finished, the sooner I can share crucial information with you. Now, is there anything I can do for you in the meanwhile? Tea, perhaps?
Okay. So she has information, but she won't give it to me. So earlier I said I don't have my badge. And she said, okay, well, if you want information, you have to do this for me. And I agreed. But now I have my badge, but she's like, no backsies. You already said you'd do the thing for me. You gotta do the thing if you want the info. Because I already told my boss you were gonna do the thing. So you have to do the thing. Once you've thinged, then I'll give info. I don't care about the badge anymore. So I gotta go thing now. You Lieutenant Jeffrey? No, W. Freighter is my rank. Lieutenant W. Freighter. Harry Dubois.
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up?
The lady driver.
What? But I told you she's my friend. Please don't make me give her up, detective. Get someone else. There's a ton of drivers here.
Put yourself in my shoes. I need this for another investigation too. It's important. I can't blow it.
You're not gonna put a bullet in your head if you blow it, are you? Because she's on the edge, man.
I wouldn't be so sure, Tommy. Imagine it. An explosion of stars. Goodbye world of men, money, and machines.
She's a suspect, and I need you to tell me where she is, or I can't finish the investigation, Tommy.
I thought you were a different kind of cop.
Something breaks in him as he stares into your eyes.
The realization that you've used his friendliness and goodwill for your own ends.
I'm sorry, Tommy, but I've already talked to everybody else in this freaking lorry park.
Remember, you're doing it for the bigger investigation. This is important. Relax. Ask.
Where's the lady driver?
Here.
He takes a key ring from his pocket and then looks at it before giving it to you in silence.
The keys to a motor lorry. Pretty complex. Looks like a chain lock.
Her lorry's still here. Down past the Statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday.
He blinks, his eyes half empty now. Why did you have the keys?
She left them to me. Because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise...
He doesn't finish the sentence.
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
He nods.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating.
Anything else like where she is now?
No. I don't know.
I'm sorry I had to do this.
I bet you are.
And he's sorry he couldn't be what he wants to be. A good person. His last line, his revenge on the world.
Something else.
Nah. I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin. I hope it gets you something. Help someone.
Yikes! Feel bad ink. Alright. Lori, past the statue, green cabin. You?
This green found, A to Z, contemporary, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
So chat, one of the things we're looking for is one of these people is smuggling drugs. So if this truck is full of drugs, we found it.
This is the one our man pointed to.
Try to peek in the window.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of the seat and 2 steering levers.
Try the door handle.
The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced. There's no picking this lock. The owner has put special care into it. It's a recessed design.
Unlock the door with the key Tommy gave you.
You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. You can just
open it.
The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals.
Admire the posters.
These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye. A centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat.
Study the centerfold.
The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. Wait, doesn't she resemble someone you know? But you can't put your finger on whom exactly.
Enough of the posters.
The actresses and the rare actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat.
Examine the radio.
Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least.
It has to be an advanced model to fit so many frequencies next to each other without blending them together.
Why wouldn't we need so many radio stations?
For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation. With quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least. Perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Is there anything we could do with the radio?
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
What else is in here?
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes, some dead actresses, and a rusty old toolbox under the seat.
Check the pedals.
You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look.
What an odd option.
Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Looks like the driver has glued a piece of sandpaper to the throttle to offer some extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique?
The sandpaper would also rub off the pattern from the driver's right boot sole.
Yes?
He likes where this is going.
Do the honors, he thinks. Connect it yourself.
One of the footprints at the crime scene had an aberration. One sole was smoother than the other.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching.
The lieutenant's eyes light up behind the prescription lenses. Wait, the missing 8th Hardy, here.
Looks like her, yes.
And she's also running the drug trade. What a handful.
Now we know for certain who's the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation?
Not necessarily. The lady driver could have kept the drug trade a secret.
You're right. But we should still go and see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. The radio transmitter sits on the center console, and a faint smell of perfume is in the air.
Pull out the pull-out toolbox.
A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper.
Is it full of drugs? Unfold the newspaper.
It's an issue of Petit Ferique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages.
Pick up the note.
It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system.
Continue.
These formulas look oddly painful. Maybe it's the hangover, but they give you a headache.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
Push in the toolbox.
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Radio, posters, a trace of motor oil smell under all the cigarettes.
Close the door.
You close the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective?
He steps away
Before
from the
we
lorry.
return to Joyce?
He wants to talk.
All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep.
Seems like something police would do. What do you think of all this, Kim?
Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for.
The probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find.
Will the RCM open an investigation into this?
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that.
He stops to think. What are you thinking?
The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome.
Corruption?
All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either.
So it turns out this is connected to the Union.
Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them, to other ends, as extra ammunition.
I don't think this matters. What about the movie posters? How do they factor into this?
As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade.
Don't be fooled. Desire always plays a role.
Maybe the trader is some sort of cinephile?
Yes, well...
He doesn't say more.
Unimportant.
Okay, debrief over?
Debrief over. After you.
Okay. Alright, we got that. I wonder if we can talk to him about that.
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
Okay, bye. Alright, let's go back to the lady at the dock. Suddenly a lot of threads are getting tied off, chat. I don't know. I don't have a good read on this game. I don't know if I'm, like, near the end or if there's another 7 hours. I cannot tell.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
I spoke with the lorryman at the roundabout.
Yes, my eyes on the harbor have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered?
Wait, where exactly are these eyes located?
It doesn't really matter. And I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
The lieutenant is about to interject. Cut him off. This decision should be yours.
No, let the lieutenant handle it.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
What was that about a bloodbath?
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Continue.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be.
I've already heard about a connection between the lynching and strike, but I need your testimony.
I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail.
A momentary lapse of faith?
They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor.
Do you need a security detail?
Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night.
Well, there's a lot of holes in that story that we already know. What
Nothing.
then?
Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbor. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now.
For now.
It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
This is not disco.
It is very far from disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put,
She grabs hold of the mainsail.
if you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
So the dead person was shot before they were lynched. The lynch was a cover-up, so we need to find who fired the bullet, which is possibly the lady driver.
They would have to project strength and power.
The Debardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
I've actually seen videos of that. The bees all like cover the hornet with their bodies, and then they all just vibrate. And the vibrations heat up the hornet, and it cooks.
These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said,
A bloodbath.
Isn't this a pretty bleak scenario you're describing?
Many bleak scenarios have already come true. Lieutenant W. Frater Dubois. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation.
What can you tell me about Cornell?
Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Ew, escort quests.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the
All the
Seminoles
good-
Islands.
all the good war
countries
zones.
that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil.
Alright, anything else you got on them?
Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
She thinks.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, man?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell.
Could you contact the company, tell them to call them off?
I have. And they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
You said the deceased assaulted a woman.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it.
What did these teenagers by the canal say?
That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
This is a good game, top-notch VA. Yeah, I think the voice acting is one of the best things about it, which is stunning because I know when the game came out, it didn't have voice acting. It's just the game sold really well, and they're like, oh shoot, let's hire voice actors and redo that part of it. So I'm kind of glad that I was introduced to the game much later on.
This does not come as news to us, but still. To your knowledge, where did this assault take place, if you know?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him.
I know the woman you're talking about. We have it under control.
Good. Then you've made progress. It's imperative that you move fast. The tribunal will not be patient.
The colonel, the one who was hanged, did you know him?
If you mean did I see him alive? Yes. But I did not know him.
His name was...
Lely. His service name. A nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one.
This Lely, anything else? Nationality? How old would you say he was?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
This matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body, and Classier also mentioned it, I believe. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once.
Where are the remaining two mercs now?
They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth.
Huh.
They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia
I'm gonna
as
show
I
up
do.
and be like,
To put
hi,
it
I'm wearing your
bluntly,
dead friend's armor.
They think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting.
Vigilantes. You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol.